So today we will be planning our explanation text. Now to plan it, we're going to use subheadings, and beneath the subheadings we're going to use bullet points. What I don't want us doing is writing the subheading and writing out the entire explanation text. So I can't emphasize that enough, we are using bullet points. So the first subheading we'll be using is introduction. And in this subheading, we want to put some creative thought into what we're writing. What I mean by creative thought in your introduction is, so you don't want to just say anything. You are free to come up with whatever you can come up with, but you got to have some kind of reasoning behind it. So for example, in my one, the first line that I planned is just a bullet point to say what we could see in the stars, and then slowly I drift off into the realm of what we can't see, and that leads on to the topic of black holes. That's the creative thought behind my introduction. We also want to end it with something that's going to really entice the reader. In your introduction paragraph, you should mention how we learned new things about black holes, because I find that new information is always more enticing than old information. So your introduction should make it clear that everything you're going to talk about, it's all new things that we've discovered recently in a modern society. Satellite imagery reveals never before seen information and images of Mars. Ooh, this is new. I'd better read on. The second subheading we will be using is, what is a black hole? Now, for this part, you want to talk about the two parts that essentially make up a black hole. The first part is the singularity. The second part is the event horizon. So, what I mean by singularity is, if you look at this depiction over here, a crudely drawn depiction of a black hole, in the center you have where all the mass is, so as represented by the black area. Now that's called the singularity. So that's where all the stuff exists. And then the radius, the white radius around it, that's a representation of a field. The field is known as the event horizon. Now if you enter that field, then you can't escape. Where'd the other guy go? In there. Wait, so how's he going to come back out? Through Hawking radiation? Reconstruct him? Alright, fine. I'll take his role. Just wait, did he at least leave his jacket behind? Well, I guess we won't be seeing him anymore. So the next subheading you'll be using in your explanation text is, how is a black hole formed? Now in this subheading you want to talk about the stages in the process of a black hole being born. So that includes from the sun to the eventual point where it becomes a black hole. So to give you a better idea of the process involved in the formation of a black hole, you need to really use your imagination here. So let's begin with this. Let's imagine that this is a star, and it rotates and it burns for a very long time. Then eventually it starts to run out of fuel, and eventually that leads to what's called a supernova. A supernova is a massive explosion, and it's so bright, it's brighter than billions of stars combined. Now this supernova sends a lot of the debris on the outside of the sun flying outwards, but what's on the inside of the sun gets squeezed, so it gets compressed to a very small size. However, the weight stays the same because it is the same amount of stuff, but it's been compressed to a really small size. Now, to give you an idea of just how small it compresses, imagine that this were the Earth. So let's imagine this was the Earth that I'm standing on, this metaphorical representation. Pause. And then I squeeze it down to a penny, but the penny still weighs the same weight of the Earth. This would become the singularity of a black hole. So the final subheading you'll be using is why we should study black holes, or why we should continue to study black holes. And I think it's a lovely way to conclude our explanation text. And I think it is very important to keep studying black holes because, one, it fascinates the curiosity of just about everyone. And I've seen it in the classroom, everyone wants to learn more about black holes. So it's very important that we continue to study it. The second reason that we should continue studying black holes is because it can teach us a lot about how the universe began. Because we know that a black hole is at the center of almost every galaxy. So that tells us that perhaps the black hole played a role in the birth of that galaxy. Well, that's all from me for today. I hope you have fun.